Welcome back to the sports page and our coverage of the first night of the NFL draft. Take a break. We've been all Chargers. Just heard from Phillip Rivers. He's happy that they got an offensive lineman. Okay. Now, UT mock draft expert Eddie Brown had the Chargers taking an offensive lineman at number 11, not DJ Fluker. Eddie, crazy first round. Give me your synopsis.
Well, the word that comes to mind is reach.
Okay.
There's a lot of reaches in this first round. We'll get to that. But I'm thinking the salary structure from the new CBA causes teams to say, hey, you know what? We got to trust our talent guys. We're going to go and get our guy. It doesn't matter if we're going to take him in the first or the second. Let's just get our guy.
Interesting that you say reach because there was talk of there not being a lot of talent at the top end here. So it's like, well, gosh, wouldn't everybody have almost been a reach? My thought was, rather than not being a lot of talent at the legitimate first half of the first round talent, there wasn't skill positions.
Right.
Teams are freaking built on offensive and defensive line. There were some decent players there.
Yeah, and we saw that the premium skill positions went early. I mean, the Rams jumped up early to get to Tavon Austin into the top 10, and that was kind of a surprise, although a lot of people had him possibly going in the top 10. So, yeah, there was a premium on skill positions, but this draft will be known for the guys in the trenches, the linemen and the defensive linemen.
Sure will. First time ever, 5 guys in the top 10 offensive linemen and 3 tackles in the first 4 picks. Woo,
amazing.
Goodness.
Yeah.
Let's start there at the top, and we knew that the Kansas City Chiefs were going to go offensive line.
Right.
There was talk as the last couple days went on that it would be Eric Fisher over Luke Joeckel. Joeckel goes 2 to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Correct.
Tell me what you think.
You know what? Joeckel was the pick, and the Chiefs obviously saw something that impressed them with Fisher, as did probably most teams. But Joeckel was the guy who had the experience in the major competition in the Big 12 SEC. I mean, he protected the first freshman Heisman winner in the history of college football. I would have went with Joeckel. Fisher kind of surprises me at number 1. So that was a reach in itself.
All right, number 3. This is where it starts to go totally screwy.
Right.
Because Miami Dolphins trade up with Oakland Raiders. I say good on the Raiders because even though it's a new general manager, of their past 6 top 10 picks, 1 guy, Darren McFadden, remains on the team. So good for them getting out of the top 10. Can't handle it anyway.
Right.
Boom. Everybody thinks, whoa, are these guys going to Miami? They need a tackle. Are they going to go Lane Johnson, 1, 2, 3 tackles?
Right.
No, Deion Jordan, defensive end, probably an outside linebacker now to Miami.
Totally surprises me. I think you had to jump up to get him because the Eagles would have been on Jordan. The Browns would have been on Jordan at 6. So when the Dolphins traded up, I thought the same thing. I was like, wow, 1, 2, 3 tackle. Teams have gone tackle mad. But Jordan's a great pick. His speed is amazing. His athleticism is amazing. And the Dolphins are trying to compete this year.
For the Philadelphia Eagles,
yeah,
Lane Johnson, tackles are gone. Do you think Lane Johnson has a chance to be the best of these 3?
No.
Wow.
No, I don't. I think Joeckel's going to be the best of these 3.
Okay.
I think Fisher and Johnson can be good players with the right coaching. My issue is that both these guys were top 20, top 25 guys, and I've been saying this all along. Lewin and Matthews went back to school, and all of a sudden these guys jumped 20 spots.
Yep.
So the fact that they went in the top 5 completely surprises me. I'm not sure what changed from January, February to April, but obviously something did. So I think they're good prospects, but they're good coaches.
The 2 guys who left or stayed in school is what changed.
Yeah.
And they had a good lead up to the draft. Well, in terms of the workouts.
Yeah, they certainly do. Athleticism is a big thing, especially with Johnson. But the idea of athleticism on a tackle, Robert Gallery was pretty athletic last time I checked.
Let's talk. Yeah, and there again, the Raiders.
Right.
That was the 2004. Let's talk about maybe the most mercurial rise in draft history, or at least recorded draft history, let's say, since the advent of the internet and all of us assessing people. Ezekiel Ansah, 9 starts at BYU,
right,
and he is now the 5th overall pick, Detroit Lions.
Kid from Guana, no football
Came here to play basketball.
Football coaches are like, hey, you. Why don't you come over here and play for us? Next thing you know, he's a top 5 pick. I mean, he has freaky athleticism.
Sure.
He has good size. Unlike Mingo, who went, I think, the following pick, he has great size with the good coaching. Lions are going to be freaky on defensive line.
Again, the reason that I don't like to get in all this draft speculation, no offense, Eddie,
sure,
is that you and I are not NFL coaches. I've spent most of my career around the NFL daily, and those guys have forgotten more than I will ever know, all right? But the film I see on Ansah, and I do watch a lot of film to try to keep up, it's all against Mountain West Conference players.
Right.
I mean, and 9 starts, for goodness sake.
Very, very good point. And in my mock, I had him falling down to the Giants at 19, so I kind of felt the same thing.
Big riser, Barkevious Mingo, number 6, Cleveland Browns.
Rex Ryan must have been just completely disappointed. He was smitten with this kid before the draft started. Mingo goes to the Browns at number 6. So
the first guard goes Jonathan Cooper. You got that one right.
I did.
Right on.
How about that?
At number 8, Tavon Austin. That was the trade. St. Louis, you knew they wanted him,
right.
and they must have got word that the Jets or somebody was going to take him. Probably the Jets.
Exactly. Somebody was going to take him. When the Jets traded for their second pick, I thought that'd be the team you'd have to leapfrog. The Rams probably thought
there it
the
is.
same
I think the lowest since 1991 that one of the skill position players has gone on offense. That's amazing. And then number 9, this is where it starts to set up, and the Chargers are happy probably. D. Milner, the first cornerback off to the Jets. Chance Warmack, you got that one right, man. You knew your guards. And then number 11, DJ Fluker. We spent a lot of time on him.
Right.
Tell me where in this first half, you got 12 of the first 16 right. Tell me where your big surprise was. Maybe it's number 16, where the Bills take a quarterback that you thought they might take at 8, but it's not Geno Smith, who, as far as we know, still hasn't been taken.
That was by far my biggest surprise. And
E.J.
Manuel going as the first quarterback, I think, is a good indication of how soft this quarterback class is.
Right.
So that was probably my biggest surprise of the first round.
All right, and then as we go on, you loved Jarvis Jones.
Yes.
Kid who maybe the thing that he should have done is fake an injury and just let his film show for him, because he just didn't test well.
Right, didn't test well. A lot of people were worried about his medical history. That was all answered, but then, like you said, he ran a 4.9 at his 40 in his pro day, and that all the people that were worried about his medical history said, oh, well, he's not fast.
Well, let me tell you something. He went to a team that has a long history of pretty kick-ass pass rushers.
Right, and
Pittsburgh Steelers.
And a team with a lot of needs this year that we talked about.
Yeah,
and they're one of those teams that good players always fall to them.
Hey, we skipped right over a team that had a real aggressive, but sometimes unpredictable. We didn't skip over the 49ers. They did the expected trade.
Right.
They were next at 18. They traded with the Dallas Cowboys, and they take Eric Reed to kind of fortify their safety safety position.
That's somebody I had them on at 31, and they had enough ammunition to go up and get Vaccaro, who was the number 1 rated safety. So it tells me that they had Reed probably 1-1.
So do I give you credit for that? Because you had him at 31 with it? You get half point for that? Okay.
Can't predict trades.
Very interesting. The Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Defense.
And
right?
well, I mean, you got Adrian Peterson manning the offense. I mean, he's a one-man show. So you need to improve defense. They needed a safety. They needed a cornerback. They needed a linebacker. They needed a defensive lineman. So yeah, defense.
No, am I right here? I mean, we've been here. So, but they traded with the New England Patriots at 29.
Yeah, Bill
So
Belichick.
they picked. Is it 23, 25, and 29?
Right.
They went 2 corners.
They went Xavier Rhodes, Sharif Floyd, who fell
defense tackle,
for no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, you had him at number 3, and I think a lot of people did. So we'll find out about that.
I didn't get that report that he had cooties, because I don't know why he fell.
3 defensive players at the end of the first round for the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, Cordell Patterson.
They took a receiver then at 29.
Okay. Which is something they needed after losing Percy Harvin.
Maybe I was thinking of the Patriots, who I thought they needed a cornerback. I thought maybe they were going to pick a cornerback and actually execute their first round pick, but they did not. They traded out.
Well, they needed more picks.
They got a lot of them.
They got 4 picks from the Vikings. I mean, they needed extra picks. Now they end up with 3 different third rounds.
Check out Eddie's it's the entire 7 rounds, you psycho. Entire 7-round mock draft on the UTSanDiego.com. Well, you will now, all right?
Right.
Golly. Hey, thank you for joining us. It's been a lot of fun, and I'll see you next January.
Great.
All right, my man. When we come back, we'll check in with Annie. She's out at Chargers Park.